conspiracy theory, I guess, or tarot reading, if you want to call it. It's going to be on Robert Perelman. I think that's how you pronounce it. Perelman, who is a billionaire investor. And what made me pay attention to this individual is because recently I found out on my screen, like on my my computer news thingy, because my computer like is set up to where like it gives me like recent news, like when things just breaking news basically. And so how I found out about this man was that my computer told me that recently his son passed away at just 15 years old due to chronic medical conditions around March 26th, I think, 2026. And this is my first time hearing about him and his son. And what honestly came to mind was the story about Moses and Pharaoh and the people of Egypt when God had came through and swept up Pharaoh's firstborn son as the final judgment, so that Pharaoh could let the people in Egypt go. And it's crazy because I knew nothing about this man, but I did me a little research, and I found out that this son that had passed away of his was indeed his firstborn son. And I just want to say my condolences. This video is going to be mainly focused on his father and not so his son Oscar. That's his name. That's his son's name. His name is Oscar. And my condolences to the family, to the mother. And I just also want to put out a disclaimer that I don't know nothing. I don't know a damn thing, y'all. Okay, listen. I very much so might be having a psychotic break. I'm on meds. Okay, so take everything that I say with a grain of salt. All right. So according to page 6, it says the teenage son of billionaire investor. Oh shit, his name is Ronald Perelman, who is 86, and Dr. Anna Chapman has died on the island of St. Martin, according to page 6. Oscar Perelman was just 15 years old. His passing on Tuesday night was reportedly related to a chronic medical issue. A source told page 6 that Oscar was a kind and smart child. Perelman married psychologist Anna Chapman in 2010. The couple had their child Oscar through a surrogate the same year. Now, after I saw this article, I did some research, and it turns out this motherfucker has 8 kids. 8. Ronald has been married 5 times and has fathered 8 children in total. Perelman adopted 3 children with his first wife. Her name is Faith Golding, and their names are Stephen, Josh, and Hope. Faith gave birth to his 4th child, named Deborah, and that's his biological daughter. Then he went on and married Claudia Cohen. Interesting. I just honestly caught her last name. We're going to get into it. 1 child together, and that was his biological daughter. Then he went on to have a child, Oscar, be a surrogate with his latest wife, Anna Chapman. And this man, he was the CEO of Revlon for quite a while. And that's how he earned most of his money in investments, was through Revlon. And he also invested in some company called Paravision, whatever the hell that is. Panavision. My bad. Enough, his net worth went from 19.8 billion to 1.9 billion as of 2022. Very interesting. I did some research on this man, and I looked into some research about the firstborn child ritual. And this was something that I did not know existed until prior to me searching it up, but I had a hunch, that's the first thing that came to mind, like I said, once I read about this man's son passing away. And lo and behold, that's what I found. When it comes to the firstborn son ritual, it comes from Judaism, but also the Judaism ritual originates from the Torah and the story of Exodus. And the ritual, when it comes to Judaism, is basically a redemption ritual for the child. And the child is typically about 30 days old until once it's able to take part in this ritual. And it's basically just the parent of the child giving a Kohen, which is aka the priest, 5 silver coins. It's basically like a baptism in a sense, but you're not being dipped in water. It's more so just the purpose of it is just for protection and sovereignty and acknowledging God's sovereignty and putting protection over the child. That's what it is in Judaism tradition. And some conspiracy theorists believe that, this ritual could take a more occultic route as well, like with the whole the rich and powerful to kind of maintain power. And so there's two, ways to go about this whole firstborn child ritual thing. Hey, now I want to point out some things that are kind of wrong when it comes to Robert's situation. If this ritual actually did take place with his son Oscar, Robert is in fact Jewish. Yes, he is Jewish, and Oscar was born via surrogate. So Oscar and Anna Chapman is most likely not Oscar's real mother, but that is his biological father. This can 100% mess up a ritual in this sort of case, because it involves both the genetics or DNA of both. From a spiritual standpoint, I think it's ideal for the child to belong to both the mother and the father in order for this to work, especially if the seed or the father is gravely involved in this sort of religion or religious practice. I also want to point out, Robert was also a part of the Epstein files. Yes, he had a close connection with Epstein. And when we think about Epstein and all the rituals and all the satanic, sort of things that they were involved in, we can easily infer that Robert was not being faithful to his religion, as Epstein is known for being, a Satanist or part of the occult or into the cabal, et cetera, et cetera. And Robert actually does identify as an Orthodox Jew, an Orthodox Jew. Orthodox Jews do not believe in combining religions. There are some, more modern day, Orthodox Jews that don't really mind, but Robert is 83 years old.
Damn.
Robert is 83 years old, very much so, most likely very much so old-fashioned. Can I just be honest for a second? When I read this story about Robert and his son unfortunate passing, I have to say, I think that Robert is, along with Epstein, a follower of the cabal, and very much so does, black magic rituals, satanic rituals, blood sacrifice rituals in order to have maintained and sustained his power and wealth. I want to say that despite me talking about the 𝐃𝐈𝐒𝐂𝐋𝐀𝐈𝐌𝐄𝐑 ritual, that's what you call the ritual of the firstborn son when it comes to being an Orthodox Jew. I do think that in this case, when it comes to Robert and his son, it's more so aligned with the story of Moses and Pharaoh and the people of Egypt land. I think that I don't want to sound insensitive. Because, matter of fact, Robert has expressed immense excitement and gratitude for being able to have his firstborn son. But I kind of have to call it what it is. In my opinion, and this is just allegedly, this is just my thoughts, and I could 100% be wrong. But in my opinion, I think that God is raining judgment on Robert. Robert is Pharaoh. I feel like Robert is Pharaoh in this scenario. And Robert took a major loss in 2022. How the fuck did you go from $19.8 billion to $1.3 billion? That's insane. And I feel like that was just the beginning. And then with this whole Epstein thing, it's kind of like a butterfly effect in a way. It's kind of like a boom, 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 boom. Okay, I'm just saying. Robert's loss of power, the devil came to collect, unfortunately. Do think, and this is just my opinion again, I do think that Robert knew at some point that the Reaper was coming, not only for his son, not only for his wealth, but also his son. And I do think that using a surrogate, actually, I do feel like he thought he could cheat fate by using a surrogate instead of, a biological. I don't know. I do think that he thought he could cheat death by using a surrogate. I do think that he could probably cheat destiny or fate by using a surrogate. And the Reaper said, no. I want to know, am I correct in saying this? Do I think that Robert is very much so guilty and judgment is being rained upon him. Basically, that's the only question I have, to be honest. Again, my condolences to his family, his mother, Robert. I'm so sorry. But it's crazy how, especially white men, they think that they could get away with. I was just talking about this to one of my friends the other day, and I have a privilege on a daily to serve wealthy, I guess, well-off white men, and such a privilege. Emphasis on emphasis on the sarcasm, honey. Oh my God, such a privilege to serve. Such a privilege to serve wealthy white men. Oh my God, but they're the most densest motherfuckers on the planet. They think they know everything. And they're so entitled. I'm a little jealous. I'm like, how does it feel? How does it feel to just walk around and feel like you could just be so out of touch with reality, and while in the same breath thinking you know everything, and also being so entitled. How does it feel? Like, all that to say is, when you dibble and dabble into magic stuff, there's always a consequence. And you gotta pay. It's not. You really think that your whiteness is just currency? Maybe when it comes to some things, but when you dibble and dabble into spiritual shit, spirit doesn't discriminate. Spirit definitely doesn't motherfucking pick and choose. Who gets to reap what they sow? Who gets the karma? No, honey. Your whiteness doesn't matter in the spiritual realm. It doesn't. And I can't help but look at it from a more psychological perspective, even all the way down to Epstein. Like, yeah, in the 90s, in the early 2000s, you got away with a lot of shit because you were white. But by the grace of God, spirit isn't mankind, and mankind isn't spirit. Y'all really be running this rat race when it comes to the 13 families, when it comes to rich and powerful white men such as Epstein or such as Robert. It's like y'all really run this rat race to try to be your own God. And to an extent you are. But the final judgment I'm gonna pull a card. 1 second. Was I right in my theory? Is Robert God please protect my energy, please. Ties with the occult and his son being basically a sacrifice. Am I correct? And Robert Perelman's son Oscar being sacrificed. Was this a matter of Pharaoh and Moses, the lovers? I want to say the Three of Cups. I want to say yes. I also want to say that this loss has really taken a toll on him. I think that he really loved his son very much. And he really loved his son very much. And let me tell you something. Let me show you something. You see how this penguin here has armor on his head, but the rest of his body is unarmed, and he's offering a cup to whoever on the other side. He was very much so, Robert is very much so an evil motherfucker. He's a monster. He's someone who, like I said, out of touch with reality. Very much so a matter of a motherfucker that doesn't know what he's doing when it comes to the spiritual realm and this spiritual shit. He wants fast results, fast. Like, I want it now. Like, I want it now. And it's like, but he didn't care about anybody else but his kid, his son. He would harm anybody else. He wouldn't necessarily, show compassion or mercy towards anybody else when it comes to the collective, but his son. I feel like Robert has health issues too. I'm thinking about this penguin. You know, penguins are kind of going extinct because of the weather conditions. I think that Robert is dying, or he has some sort of health issues as well. There's a lot of pages that are coming out. Yeah. And then, see, the King of Swords at the back of the deck. What did I say, y'all? The King of Swords is a cold motherfucker. Doesn't care. Doesn't care. And then we have the Tower in the back of the deck. So it's fair to say that I was right in what I said. I think that was a firstborn son ritual that he did. I think he made a deal. I think he made some sort of deal. And he's now experiencing the spiritual repercussions. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading, okay? And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.